So we are going to start solving equations with variables here. It's the same process as solving normal equations, but instead of where you might see numbers, you're going to see a lot of variables. So let's kick things off. We're going to solve the equation 6x plus 2y equals 12, and we're going to solve this for y. What that means is ultimately we want to get y equals something here. So our goal is to get y by itself, which means if I'm going to backtrack, and I'll show one backtracking and one basic moves here. If I'm going to backtrack, I want to start with y and think about what happens to y. So as I look at this, the first operation that happens to y in this equation is it gets multiplied by 2. After that, we can see this addition sign and we add 6x. Now that's kind of weird to say, but again, with backtracking, we can do that. We're going to add 6x and we ultimately arrive at 12. All right, well, how do we get back to y? What does y equal? Let's start going backwards. 12, instead of adding 6x, we're going to subtract 6x. Now, 12 minus 6x, those are not like terms, which means I actually can't combine them. I have to leave that as 12 minus 6x, and there's nothing I can do with that. After that, I've got to divide by 2, and I get y equals 12 minus 6x divided by 2. And notice everything there is being divided by 2, not just this negative 6x, not just the 12. You should probably simplify this if you can, and it looks like both of those terms are divisible by 2. So if we can simplify this, 12 over 2 is 6, negative 6x over 2 is negative 3x. So we actually get that y equals 6 minus 3x. And that would be fully simplified. That is what y equals. It's not going to give you y equals 8 or y equals negative 4. It's in terms of x. If we were to do this with basic moves, we can start with our equation, 6x plus 2y equals 12. And just like in backtracking, we're going to do the reverse order, which means we're going to subtract 6x from both sides. This gives me 2y equals 12 minus 6x. Again, I can't combine those. Divide both sides by 2, and I'm looking at y equals, and again, I can simplify this. 12 over 2 is 6, negative 6x over 2 is negative 3x. There's my answer. All right, next time we are going to do the same thing, same equation, I should say, not same thing, 6x plus 2y equals 12, but this time I want you to solve it for x, which means get x by itself. So feel free to pause this video and try that either by backtracking or basic moves, and then you can unpause it when you want to check your answer. All right, so let's see what this looks like. I start with x. I'm going to backtrack for this one. I see that it's multiplied by 6. Then we add 2y and we get 12. So going backwards now, I'm going to subtract 2y, which is just 12 minus 2y, and then divide by 6. So I get x equals 12 minus 2y over 6. Not the prettiest answer because negative 2y is not totally divisible by 6. I could reduce. It looks like I've got a bunch of even numbers in here. So I can reduce everything by a factor of 2 if I really want to. And that would give me x equals 6 minus y all over 3. So that's one thing you could do because the 12 and the 2 and the 6 all reduce by a factor of 2. You could also leave it as 12 minus 2y over 6. You could even do 12 over 6, which is 2 minus 2y over 6, or y over 3, and leave it like that. All of those would be options here, and I think we would accept any of them for x. All right, 2 more problems in this video here. Let's solve this equation. J equals ka plus t, and we're going to solve it for a. So I'm going to use basic moves on this one rather than backtracking. I probably will do that for the next 2, but feel free to backtrack if you prefer to do that. Let's see. So a is being multiplied by k, and then we're adding t. So I'm going to undo that by subtracting t from both sides. J minus t isn't anything special except for j minus t. And right now that's equal to ka. Now I need to get a alone, so I'm going to divide both sides by k. J minus t over k, I can't simplify that. anymore because neither j nor opposite of t are divisible by k as far as I know. So this is as simplified as it gets, and I get a equals j minus t over k. All right, here's your last one. Again, go ahead and try and pause this if you want to try it on your own first. It's a pretty messy one, but I think we can get this going, no problem here. Let's try x squared plus y over 8 equals r. And we're going to solve this for x. So it's going to get a little bit complicated here. All right. So we can backtrack, we can basic moves. Go ahead and pause this if you want to try it on your own first. But here is our equation. I'm going to basic moves. I'm going to start by multiplying both sides by 8, clearing out that denominator there. And now I've got x squared plus y equals r times 8. I'm going to write that as 8r. Then I can subtract y. And I get x squared equals 8r minus y. Nothing I can do with that. And then becomes this idea of undoing the squaring. We're taking the square root. So if I take the square root, remember that introduces both a positive and negative root when I'm taking the square root in an equation. So I get that x equals both the positive square root of 8r minus y, no idea what that is, and the negative square root of 8r minus y. And neither of those can be simplified, so those are my two very nasty looking final answers. All right, these next two videos, or the next two sections here, I want you to try and solve these without my help, and go ahead and give those both a shot. So pause this now and do that. I will also put my answer key, or put my answers up here in just a moment, but I want you to pause and try those now. All right, so I am going to show you here. I've got an answer for this one as a equals bk plus 7 all over 2. And for this last one, pretty nasty answer for v here. I get v equals 5 times the quantity of w plus q minus x all over 2. You could also have written that as v equals 5w plus 5q minus x all over 2. Give those a shot, see if you can get that or not. If you're having questions with it, please feel free to reach out to the people around you, see how they got the answers that they got for those two questions. After you complete this video and this worksheet here and have those right answers, you can move on to the next part by following the instructions on this sheet and in your HyperDoc.